I'll say this, that they're really loud. Those fans who shit on everything, and the way that he completely revitalized that franchise. So fuck that. I would hate seeing him back in Denver and finishing out them. Like,
nobody wants to talk about the Denver thing, where Denver was a wasteland. Nobody even knew there was a basketball team still till Melo came.
They won 17 games the year before.
I just don't think he has it anymore.
Should any team want Carmelo Anthony?
Blasphemous.
Yes, sir, Carmelo.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Control the Narrative, a podcast where we control the narrative that the media creates. If you're new around here, subscribe to catch our weekly podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And if you're a returner, a subscriber, or better yet, a Control the Narrative member, like this fine gentleman is joining us tonight, we appreciate you a little more if you're part of that membership team. For those members, you're going to love the Q4 members drop. I guarantee you we're getting them in either late this week or early next week. And I'm excited about it. I'm obviously got to keep one for myself for this. So episode 120. Here we are, Control the Narrative. It's November 15th. The reason that this date is even a little significant is because 3 years ago yesterday was the day that Melo signed with Portland and kind of broke this blackball curse that he was under by Jeff Bzdelik, the Rockets, and really the whole NBA. So we are officially past that point of the season when Melo signed with Portland. And we need to talk about panic level. We need to talk about what's going on in the NBA and more. So to do that, we're going to bring on a guest who hasn't come on in a minute, but he's always active in Discord and on Twitter and on IG and everything. So he's big time. Daniel, my guy, welcome back, bro.
What's up? Long time.
Been a minute. We were literally just talking off camera. It's been almost 2 years. Last time it was December 2020. And that episode was, I just said it, 49. So up to 120. So been a while. How you doing tonight, bro?
Hanging in there, man. Just same. Like everybody else. We're waiting. All waiting.
Bro, whenever we get comments on Instagram and everyone's like, yo, what's going on? Do we know what's happening? Like, where's he going? Like, I wish I had that info. Like, I really, really wish, where I'm like, yo, he's going to go here or this. But, like, it's so up in the air right now. So with all that being said, let's just kick it off. I mentioned real quick before, it's November 15th. Carmelo Anthony is still not an NBA roster. I did not think we would be here after last year. I did not think we would be here after the first days of free agency, weeks, months, and here we are. What I want to know from you, Daniel, is on a scale of 1 through 10, what is your panic level at right now?
I'm going to have to go 7.5. It's just, I know you had the interview with Scoop, and he was saying how it's not really the teams. It's not most like the teams. Not one Melo. It's also Melo wanting the right decision, right place. So it's kind of like, is it really that? Is it really that? Or is it like, what's going on? Here we go again.
Yeah. And let me not rephrase it, but the panic level in a sense of, yo, Melo's not on a team right now and it's not his fault. You're going to stay with the 7.5?
Yes, definitely stay with 7. I'll stay with 7.5. Yeah.
Yo, I'm going to half up you. I'm going to go an 8. The only reason is I hear what you're saying, where I don't think it's all on teams not signing him. I do think Melo's had opportunities, whether it was in the summer, whether it was over the past few weeks, we really don't know. But at the end of the day, the fact that he's still not makes me, and again, not nervous, because one thing, and we'll get a little more into this in a little bit, and I've talked about this, him being close to his son or be attending his son's high school games and just basketball career right now in high school is really important to him. It's a high priority for him, which completely fair. I'm not going to sit and be like, no, yo, he needs to get on a fucking team. Stop going to his son's games. Who the fuck am I to say that?
Right.
I just think some priorities for him are obviously staying close to New York. So whether that was like, again, we've talked about it with that Scoop episode about, it feels like he was banking on that Knicks deal and to be home around his son. And then it was like, all right, cool. What about Brooklyn? And then this Ime stuff happened and all this Kyrie stuff happened. And then it's just like, damn, is that even worth it? So like, again, going back to that of cool. Well, he's had an opportunity to go to New York if shit worked out. Cool. He might have had an opportunity to go to Brooklyn if it wasn't a complete fucking circus. It's just like, where does he go from here?
I mean, I think they both still make sense. I mean, Obi's getting better. So that power forward slot's kind of like shrinking, but Melo can still play the 3.
You think so?
I think you mentioned it one time, like Melo's like a 3-and-D now.
Is that not a fact with like, because I compare his defensive rating and all this, and it's better than so many players who like don't get this label on him.
Right.
And we know what he could do with this 3-ball.
Everybody know Melo can shoot. He can spread the floor. Above average defender, in my opinion, watching him his whole career. Never really got blown by a lot. I mean, the help defense, okay. He's not athletic he's not the athletic guy to go chase down weak side blocks or whatever. But keeping his man in front of him, I don't see how the whole defensive thing came up. Nobody really cooks him like that. Like,
to your point, on the ball, he's at worst an average defender. Right. At worst. And like, he's played pretty good defense like throughout his career. He's been pretty athletic. Obviously he's become a little less athletic over the years, but he can, like you said, he can still stay in front of his man. He could still contest shots. He could still move laterally pretty well. Like, that's never been an issue. It's just this like off the ball thing, and he doesn't help, and just like all this that again, it's just a narrative that people started. But
narrative.
Always. I don't know, man. I just wonder, like, because I'm trying to think about this panic level as a Melo fan. It's like, holy shit, he's still not on a team. Because people are in the comments and DMs and tweeting us, and even in the Discord, like, yo, what the fuck's happening? Why isn't he on the team? Why isn't he on a team? And I do think it's partly his choice, but at the same time, something that worried me, and this really, really, really could just be an overreaction, but Kevin Harrington, one of he like works with Brickley, with all the training on Black Ops and stuff. He posted something on Instagram yesterday, and it was Melo highlights. And the only reason that worried me is I don't think Melo is telling him behind closed doors, like, yo, start posting me more, like, let teams know what I could still do. I don't think that's the case, because it's obvious that teams know that, like, yo, they're not going to see a highlight video and be like, holy shit, we need to sign him. But I do think that at Black Ops or in terms of the trainers, like, they might be feeling a little pressure to try to get Melo signed. And like, I don't know what conversations they're having behind closed doors, but like the fact that they posted highlights yesterday worried me.
Yeah, I remember there was a time where all those highlights came out and people were talking about like, oh, he's begging for a job. He keeps posting highlights. But he doesn't have the camera in his hand. It's like somebody else is doing that.
Right.
It was kind of like, might get back to that, which it worked out. And then people start talking about, like, when Chauncey talked about him, it forced Melo to come out and go on with Stephen A. So anything to get him to come outside and talk about it, I guess will.
Fair. So yeah, man, the panic level, I'm going to go 8 just because at the end of the day, like, as a Carmelo Anthony fan, I want to see him play basketball. Like, if he wants to spend time with this kid and be like there for his kid, that's amazing. Like, that's so cool. And I'm not going to like sit here and be selfish in that sense. But obviously at the same time, I just don't want that narrative to play into whether or not he's on a basketball court. And I feel like for whatever reason, it has. And that Knicks thing, I think, like, again, if Randall's not on the team and it's just Obi at the 4, Melo's in blue and orange right now. Like, he's there, which sucks. All right, cool. So another thing, now that we're a few weeks into the season, I think we're like 12 to 15 games, depending on the team, into the season. we kind of are seeing what teams are lacking this season, what teams are struggling in, and on the opposite end, where they're thriving and things like that. Yo, real quick, sorry to interrupt if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but just wanted to let you know that we have merch at Control the Narrative, and it's pretty fire, in my opinion. This is the Pixel Melo t-shirt that I'm rocking. Anything from Cuse Melo to New York Melo, Hoodie Melo. On this shirt, we got Scapegoat merch, we got Blackball merch, we got just regular Control merch. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, stickers. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. I think I got my point across. Go check it out. I bet you'll find something you like. Appreciate the support as well. Obviously, the merch sales help us fund these podcast episodes that we get to record every single week. So appreciate you. And back to the show. Which one team, and I have a weird feeling that we're both going to say the same team, but which one team do you think objectively, not like coming from a Melo fan, but like objectively needs Carmelo Anthony the most?
Did you see a post I made a week ago?
Which one?
I made a post about the teams that had power forwards in the starting lineup and didn't score double digits, and they had bench players that didn't score double digits. So I'm riding with Chicago.
Interesting.
Pat Williams, he's okay. He's a lottery pick. He's under double digits. He's passive. Melo has always been connected with them for a while. I think that's the move.
Strictly just based on offense?
Well, I think just the fit. Like you got like DeRozan, Levine, Vucevic.
Yep.
The point guard is always rotating because of
Lonzo's still out, right?
Yeah. So just that fit, if that power forward, the other dynamic player, and somebody that can help close at the end of games. It makes sense to me.
That makes sense. I was not gonna say that. I'm trying to find your post real quick. I remember that like screenshot of the notes or like that tweet that you sent out. I wish I had that on hand. Do you have that on hand?
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna tell you my team, and then after, let us just run us through it. I think for me, it's an obvious answer. I think it's the Lakers. Like after last season, not that I want Melo to go there. I think it's just so obvious that they would die for somebody like Melo right now. I looked it up. They're ranked 30th out of 30 teams in three-point percentage, and it's not close. Like they're shooting 30.7% from three, and the next worst is the Hornets at 32. So like it's not close. And then I looked at points. I'm like, all right, cool. Are they scoring a lot of points? Like what's going on? They are right now 27th in total points this season.
What about bench points?
Bench points, I'm not sure. I'm just looking at total team stats. But like, again, he could start on that team right now.
He could have started last year.
And he could have started last year. Like, again, we could talk about this fucking bench Melo shit. We've been talking about this for the past few years, but to see a team dead last in the NBA for three-point percentage, and they didn't even – well, I don't know if they called Melo or not, but they called Juan Toscano Anderson, according to Scoop B, before Carmelo Anthony. It's crazy, and I get it. They wanted to get younger, and they had injuries throughout the season. I understand that. But Melo is one of the few guys who showed up last year and did his job. You can't say that about many Lakers last year, and Melo is one of the few guys who did that. So for them to be dead last, need scoring like they need spacing the court like they need, like it's crazy. LeBron's been struggling. Westbrook's been struggling. Davis has been struggling all shooting-wise from three. They don't have a lot of shooters on the team that they're playing guys like Matt Ryan, and no shade at Matt Ryan, but I don't know. I feel like if they called Melo and LeBron did the same thing he did last summer, this summer, Melo might be wearing yellow and purple again this season, and they would be off to a vastly different start, because if we remember last year in the beginning, Melo was single-handedly winning them games.
Oh, yeah.
Like single-handedly dropping 29 points off the bench. Like who does that?
Yep.
So I think
crowd going crazy.
Yeah, it was fucking Melo mania over there. So I legit think that if Melo's on that team, their start to the season is way different. They're the worst team in the league, and it's not close. Yeah, and it's not close. So them to me is the one team. And again, obviously, it's funny that he was on that team last year, but I think it's so obvious that they're the team where I'm like, yeah.
Can I tell you why I think he won't go there? Like that's the last.
He won't. I don't think he would, and I don't think he should. But that's the one team that I think like should be trying really, really, really hard to get him, and I don't think they are.
Did you see when they signed? Was it Troy Brown Jr.?
Yeah, and they gave him 7.
Yeah, and they posted it. It was like made it look all cute and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I know Melo looked at that like that's disrespectful.
Yeah, it is. Troy Brown Jr. getting 7,
and he's starting.
Is he?
Yeah,
that shows how much
averaging like maybe like 7 points.
Crazy.
Not stopping anybody on defense. He's supposed to be some elite defender. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. He started 9 out of 11 games so far.
Yep.
Hey, man. He's shooting 32% from 3 on almost 4 attempts. So it's crazy. All right, you got that free agency post up? The roster?
Yeah, I got the teams.
Walk us through it. So explain what you did and then walk us through it.
So what I did, I just went through every roster and seen and like noted which teams had starting power forwards that didn't score in the double digits. And then I also noted which teams had bench power forwards who didn't score in double digits. So 4 teams were starters. Bulls.
Wait, real quick. This was accurate as of what, a week ago? Or like a few days?
Okay,
a week ago.
So 4 teams were starters who don't score in double digits. Bulls, Jazz, Thunder, and Warriors. So I was thinking Thunder, probably not again. Jazz, he wouldn't want to go there. Warriors, I seen some people talking about that. And then the Bulls, that's when my pick came in. That's when the Bulls came in. Then for bench players, Celtics, 76ers, Nets, Heat, good pick, Hornets, Pistons, Magic, Suns, Nuggets, T-Wolves, Kings, and your pick, the Lakers. It's a lot of teams.
I just want to put this out there. It's not. I don't want him to go back to LA.
Mm-hmm.
Like I almost would rather him not watch him play. That's not true. I've obviously watched him play in LA versus like not watching him at all. But there's a few teams that you just raffled off. And again, I just feel like we're back in this thing where we've just been speculating since literally fucking June about this shit. And it's like, damn, what about this team? What about this team? What about that team? And it's crazy, but there's so many fits. I think it comes down to him. And like, I wonder, like, what if he called Golden State and was like, yo, you guys just sent Wiseman down to the G League. Like, that shit's not working out. Like, Clay is struggling. Like, the team is struggling as a whole right now. Like, Curry, obviously, there's nothing that needs to be said there. But I wonder if he called them, like, how they would react. Because they're 6-8 right now, and they just won the chip, obviously.
I think the thing with Melo is he might not want to piggyback off the reigning champion. I think that's kind of his.
That's exactly where I was going. I was gonna say, like, historically, we were like, "Yo, there's no upside. Like, what is he gonna go there and do?" But at this point, with them struggling, like, it feels obviously the Blazers when Melo went there did not win the championship. They won the conference final, so completely different. But it feels like that, where like they had a successful season and reaching the conference finals and winning the championship, obviously completely different fucking things. But a good team coming out the gate struggling, it feels a lot like the Portland 3 years ago.
Yeah, and he can play the role of savior. It had the appearance that he's the savior because they start winning.
Exactly.
Games. Yeah,
exactly. I think that's interesting. And again, man, to be talking about this for the 6th straight month of, yo, this team makes sense and that team makes sense. That's the only reason I wasn't like, yo, what team do you think he should go to? Because everyone has an opinion. Like, Miami still makes sense. Golden State is starting to make sense. Phoenix makes a lot of sense now. Brooklyn still makes sense. Like, there's so many teams that make sense, and like we could go back and forth and talk about each specific team. but it's really what it comes down to is, does he want to be outside the New York area? And if so, like, which teams are on that list? And it's like Phoenix might be, Miami might be, and things like that. But I don't know. I want to say it's frustrating, and of course it is as a fan, being like, damn, I want to watch him play again. But again, I just think it's really on him as to what he wants to do and priorities.
I missed a few. I didn't get to be on the episode about Brooklyn, but I think that's a good fit too. Just by I watched some old games of him playing in Brooklyn. And that crowd, man, that crowd loves Melo. It's like, I know the Knicks side gonna be like, why Melo, why? But Knicks kind of ran him out.
Yeah.
So can't really blame him.
Yeah, it's not like they offered him a contract and he's like, "No, I'm gonna go to Brooklyn." Like, he'd 2,000% rather be in blue and orange.
Yeah.
Word. Speaking of blue and orange, Daniel. Yo, real quick, sorry to interrupt if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but just wanted to let you know that we have merch at Control the Narrative, and it's pretty fire, in my opinion. This is the Pixel Melo t-shirt that I'm rocking. Anything from Cuse Melo to New York Melo, Hoodie Melo. On this shirt, we got Scapegoat merch, we got Blackball merch, we got just regular Control merch. Shop CTRLthenarrative.com. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, stickers. Shop CTRLthenarrative.com. I think I got my point across. Go check it out. I bet you'll find something you like. Appreciate the support as well. Obviously, the merch sales help us fund these podcast episodes that we get to record every single week. So appreciate you. And back to the show. It's been 20 years since Carmelo Anthony started. This was the season 02-03 when he led the Syracuse Orangemen to their first NCAA championship. They haven't won one since. Probably the greatest college freshman basketball season of all time. One of the best college basketball players ever in general. And 20 years later, after that season started, his son, Kiyan, got a scholarship offer from the same exact school that his dad led to an NBA. One day to an NCAA championship. When you first heard that, what was your reaction? How cool do you think that would be? Just give us like your thoughts on what you thought.
First thing I thought was, I always say, well, it's true. Like, they always say if the father is a great player, the son's usually below average. If the father was below average, and the son is gonna be elite. So when I seen it, I'm like, Kiyan might have the chance to remove that whole saying. Like, he might be actually a good player. He getting recruited by Syracuse. It's like, it just popped up in my mind. Like, damn, he might break the cycle. Like, he can be
like the Madden curse.
Yeah. So that's what I thought of. Like, he might break the cycle. He might be pretty good, like, going forward.
Yeah. Obviously, the same thing. Like, and I was thinking about this. They didn't just offer to him because he's Melo's son. Right. Like, you have to be good. Like, it's not like, yo, all right, cool, you're Carmelo's son. Like, he did so much for the school. I get it. And, like, I saw a few people saying, like, oh, just because he's Melo's son. But the kid has game, man. If you watch, like, and again, you could talk about gym highlights and things like that. But it seems like he's taken a lot of good things from Melo offensively. And it's really cool to see. Like, I just thought about, seeing Anthony on the back of a Syracuse jersey and it not being 15. Like, that would be so fucking cool. And it's a really, like, just such a cool storyline of Melo wins the championship, and 20 years later, like, his son gets a full scholarship. And all we've been hearing about for the past few years is Bronny and LeBron playing with his son in the NBA. And I don't think Melo's going to be in the league that long to play with his son if Kiyan eventually made it to the league. But I just think that storyline of him going to Syracuse, again, like, Melo made Syracuse cool. Like, that's the only time they ever won a championship, and they haven't won since. So, again, I just think that, seeing him in the same jersey that his dad wore 20 years ago is such a cool storyline. And, who knows if it's a 1-year thing and then he wants to go to the league, or if he stays there 4 years, like nobody knows. But just the fact that that's even a possibility, I think it's cool. And I'm sure it's going to be hard for him to reject that and to go elsewhere. I don't know him like that, but I'm sure that's going to be tough to be like, nah, I'm good on that.
Imagine the storyline if he starts to win and he makes the Final Four, and imagine that if it starts building up to where he's matching what Melo did, like that would be nuts.
Yo, Daniel, another thing that I was thinking about, and I spoke to my friend Chris about this today. Shout out Chris if you're listening. He listens to a lot of these. If Kiyan goes to Syracuse and he's a senior or a junior? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I think he's a junior. Damn, I should have fucking looked this up before I came on here. But he's 15, which means he is a sophomore. Damn, he's a sophomore. There is no chance that if Kiyan goes to Syracuse, Melo is not going to be at every single game. Like 0% chance. So I think him being a sophomore right now, I think there's 0% chance. And again, we're sitting here and Melo's still not on a roster, and we might be getting ahead of ourselves, but there's 0% chance, in my opinion, that he is on a roster come the 2024-2025 season, because there's no way that he'll miss that. Like I literally thought he was a junior or a senior, and I was like, oh shit, if he's a senior, like Melo's not gonna want to miss that if he goes to Q. So that's just one thing I thought of. When people are like, oh, when is Melo gonna retire and all these things. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's November 15th and he's not a roster. Thanksgiving is next week, and we're not able to watch him play basketball yet, but I think another 2 years absolute max he has before it's like, nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna go and teach my son and watch every single college basketball game he can, because he's obviously gonna be in college.
Yeah, he said that in an interview when they asked him how long will you wait till Kiyan gets to the league. He's like, nah, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy, man. I wonder if I don't know. Again, the only reason I'm bringing this son thing up is because I just know how much it means to him. And again, I've spoken about it on multiple podcasts, but I just think it's playing a real factor in his NBA career, which is cool. Again, I'm not sitting here and being like, damn, yo, this shit sucks. Like, why is he doing that? It's amazing. I just think that it's affecting the narrative when people are like, oh, because he's washed and no team wants him and all this shit. Like, that's not the case. And like, Scoopy came on here and talked about it. Like, he's had offers. He just didn't want to go to teams like that. So I don't know, man. We're sitting here on November 15th, and it's just like, I don't even know what to make of it anymore. I don't know if it's just like, cool, he's chilling. If he doesn't sign with the team by Christmas or the deadline, like, what's the deadline for you, like, date-wise? Is it Christmas? Is it Thanksgiving? Is it the trade deadline, where if he's not on a team by then, you're like, shit's a wrap?
Shit's a wrap? It have to be Christmas.
Me too. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. So I was thinking this month, it's got to be – I'll probably bet everything I have that he's signing this month.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to. I mean –
yeah. That we know of. And, like, again, it could be something where, yo, he's just taking the first 2-3 months to watch his son in high school. Like, that could be it. And we have no idea. Obviously, he hasn't come out and said anything, but I agree, man.
Can I say something that wasn't on top? That wasn't on the
Go
topic?
Go for it.
As a Melo fan, as a Melo supporter, like, what do you want him to do most? Like, for me, it's always been to get that 30K. And I seem like he's always being stripped of that opportunity. Like, he could have been there if the whole Rockets thing didn't happen.
Easily.
The whole sabotage with the Phil Jackson thing, if that didn't happen, he would have probably had 30K 2 years ago.
Okay,
so,
see?
Yep. So I kind of want him to get that, because then there's nothing nobody can say. Those players, so what, 8 of them? He'll be the 9th player.
Yep. Did Shaq get 30?
Yep. No, Shaq's at. Is Shaq at 30? No, Shaq's at 20, 28 something.
Yeah, because Melo's about to pass Shaq.
Yeah, he's the last one before.
Yeah, Shaq's 28, 596. Melo's 28, 289.
So and then close, man.
Wilt is 7 at 31. So Melo probably is not going to catch that. That would have been sick if he finished 7th, but
I was looking and he's still on pace with Dirk. Dirk played like 1,400 something games. So he's still on pace to be.
Yeah. Dirk is right ahead of Wilt.
Yeah.
141 ahead. Man, so your question is, what's the number one thing I want to happen with the rest of his career?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, obviously, we could both agree on, like, we want him to win a championship. Like, I think that's, like, above everything else. Like, to be a meaningful contributor to a championship, like, that's obvious. But if that's not possible, for me, the 30K would be cool. For sure, it would be cool. For me, I feel like once you get in the top 10, you're, like, solidified. I feel like the top 10 is like, yo, that's like a different territory. For sure, 30K it's big time and it's historic and all that. But for me, as soon as he reached the top 10, I was like, all right, cool, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm good with that. So for me, I think this one's easy. But besides the championship, obviously, that's both of our number one priority. As fans, that's our priority for Melo. It would have to be retiring with the Knicks. And letting that Garden crowd show him love and apologize for the way they treated him that last year and the way they got sucked into that Phil Jackson shit and the way that they would be dying for a star like Melo right now with Julius Randle doing what he's been doing the past few years. I think seeing him retire on the Garden floor, a farewell tour, and the fans at MSG showing him love, that would mean way more to me as a fan versus that 30K.
I've seen some Nuggets fans say that too.
Fuck the Nuggets fans. Yo, we have some that follow us, and like, of course, there's a lot of cool Nuggets fans out there that like appreciate Melo. And I've gotten some really, really cool DMs from Nuggets fans of them saying like, yo, I don't understand why people shit on him. It's weird. I actually have this one up right now, so I'm gonna read it. It's from Jack O'Brien on Instagram. Mm-hmm. He DM'd me this like 2 years ago, so not anytime recently, but he goes, and reading a screenshot. Whoever runs this account, you're a hero. I'm from Denver. I'm almost 30 now. Melo has been an enormous part of my life, and the narrative the media has enjoyed during his career is shameful. Thank you for doing this and taking a stand against it. It's more than basketball. Thank you. I was at the last 5 home games he ever played for the Nuggets. The fans here booed him. He handled it all so well. He would be interviewed over the PA, and they would boo, and he'd smile and just calmly handle the interview after single-handedly winning the game. People are delusional. Anyway, thank you from a lifelong Carmelo Anthony fan. So those Nuggets fans I fuck with, because obviously he was there for 7.5 years.
Yeah.
We don't have to sit here and talk about all that he did, but the ones that, he forced his way out and this and the whole Jokic shit, like, there's a lot of them. Or I'll say this, that they're really loud. Those fans who shit on everything and the way that he completely revitalized that franchise. So fuck that. I would hate seeing him back in Denver and finishing out with them. Like,
nobody wants to talk about the Denver thing, where Denver was a wasteland. Nobody even knew there was a basketball team still till Melo came.
They won 17 games the year before. And
right.
Melo went there, and Andre Miller on was it All the Smoke or was it Knuckleheads? It was All the Smoke, I'm pretty sure, the podcast. He said he went to Denver to play with Melo as a rookie. That's crazy because everyone's talking about LeBron. So, yeah, facts. But now for me, and again, Melo, if you're listening to this shit, man, and you want to come back to the Knicks, again, there's not many minutes there for him right now because Obi's balling out, and I love Obi, and we talked about Obi last podcast episode.
Yes.
But it's just Randall. Like, he's playing like shit. They can't move him because his contract, and it's tough. I just really wish
that 3 spot.
I mean, you got RJ. Who?
Orlando's playing 4 6'10" players.
I know. Bol is the fucking point guard, isn't he?
I think they play a point guard like Suggs is the point guard.
Yeah, that's just wild, but they could, man. Nothing right. They just gave up 145 points to the Thunder, so I guess you can't get any worse defensively if you're the Knicks. Then try and mellow out at the 3, but yeah, for me that farewell tour for me, I'm not.
Yeah,
because the last time someone said this was Brickley on the Breakfast Club interview, and shit got out of hand. For me, that farewell tour from Melo would be legendary. So, fair question though. Fair question. All right, Daniel. Again, not like a ton of news to talk about. I just want to have podcasts like this because there's so many comments and tweets and all this stuff that we get that people are like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? Like, what do you guys think? And all this shit. And like, that's why we do these things. It's like a podcast for people who genuinely fuck with Melo and like want to know what's going on and care about like narratives and shit like that in the sport to come on and be like, all right, cool. Like, there's other people who think like this, like me. Like, I'm not the only one that doesn't think Melo's the worst defender of all time. Like, it's cool. And again, like when I started this whole shit, that's when I started meeting people like you on Twitter and all this shit where I was like, holy shit, I'm not crazy. Like, people actually think like this. So
it's a lot of us.
A lot, man. A lot. Like more than I thought and people think. Like, there's a lot of times where we get comments like, holy shit, I've been thinking this for forever. Like, thank you for saying it. I'm like, let's fucking go. So with all that being said, Daniel, you know what we do around here. I hope you do. It's been 2 years, so I hope you're still
watch all the episodes.
But for the first time in almost 2 years, I want to give you the opportunity to control a narrative. It doesn't have to be Melo related. It doesn't have to be basketball related. It doesn't even have to be sports related. So if you have one, I'll give you the floor and let you control a narrative.
I would like to say, tell everybody, do your own research, man, because there's I know a lot of people who live by memes. They think the meme is the gospel, man. That's why I like to do my own research. I like to get into Basketball Reference, or I get into, if it's music related, I get into Billboard, RIAA. Do my own research because people be lying, man. Like, even back to Melo, like the whole defensive thing, like, or he's just a scorer. I got a pinned post on my page right now that he's like the top 4 statistically cumulative player, like all around, points, rebounds, steals, blocks, assists, everything. He's up there. So you got to do your research to know these things, or somebody else is going to tell you what to think. And that ain't how it should be.
Well said. I think you missed one thing I just want to add in. Do your own research for statistics and analytics, and also watch the fucking game.
Yes.
Like, people are going to take that and run with it and go to Basketball Reference and see percentages or like defensive WAR and all these advanced analytics and be like, oh, all right, that means this guy's better. And like, that's not the case. Like, watch it and like study the game.
Add context to it. So watch the games. Then you have to add context, like rule changes and stuff like that. Exactly. Like the whole Jokic thing. Jokic is not better than Melo. Jokic is not playing against KG, Tim Duncan, Amari, Dirk. He's not playing against all those guys. Melo,
LeBron.
Yep. So context, man.
Well said.
Way better teams. Like,
and in a different era, bro. Like 25 points per game 15 years ago is different than 25 points per game today.
For sure. Like
Desmond Bain is putting up like 24 a game. I don't think Desmond Bain would have been doing that in 2005.
He's Jason Terry in 2005.
And again, different eras and like that historical context. So I love it. I just wanted to add that part because I know people are like, oh yeah, but what about the calculator boys and all this shit?
Good catch.
Exactly. Yo, Daniel, for real, appreciate it. All the support you give Control on social. Obviously, you got the merch on, so I obviously always see you with the orders and shipping shit out to you and being a member and all that. Like, for real, appreciate everything that you do for Control, because without people like you, like, we wouldn't be around and have people commenting and people rocking our merch and shit like that. So I appreciate that more than you know. And even for taking time out tonight, I know there's 8,000 things you could have been doing. But I appreciate your time, my guy.
Yes, sir.
Stay mellow, and hopefully we get to see that guy back on the court soon, bro.
For sure. Talk to you later.
Yes, sir.